It's a new day, and that means new stories from Ocean Story. Let's begin. My sister sometimes behaves very toxic. These situations don't happen often, but they are very disgusting. Now she is engaged in professional fashion shows. My sister Brooklyn takes great care of her appearance. I don't really care about all her makeup. I think that all her self-care products are good. They should make you more attractive, not to completely change your appearance. That's why her cosmetics are just for her. I only have lipstick and a few face scrubs. My skin is clean and moist enough. Brooklyn thinks a little too much of herself. That's why she does face masks 3 times a day. Brooklyn says she likes it. I don't understand how she can like it, sitting for 30 minutes without moving. We had another showdown when my sister's friend Bella came to our house. They were sitting in the kitchen talking about boys. Then the girls decided to go to the bathroom. There my sister showed her new hand cream to her friend Bella. I sat in the living room and read the news. Suddenly, my sister called my mom. Brooklyn went to the second floor. Her friend Bella stayed in the bathroom and looked at all the cosmetics. A few minutes later, my sister Brooklyn came downstairs. She went back to the bathroom to join her friend. I heard my sister Brooklyn talking loudly to Bella. I was surprised at what could have happened in 2 minutes. Brooklyn started accusing her friend of something. Bella had taken one of her lipsticks, which was very expensive. Bella said she barely put any lipstick on her lips with that lipstick. But my sister Brooklyn couldn't listen to her say that. For her, the lipstick was much more important than her friend. I intervened and asked Brooklyn to calm down. After all, her friend Bella hadn't spent much of her lipstick. My sister Brooklyn started yelling at me, saying that I must have arranged it with her, and we both used her lipstick. I said that this is absurd, and I went a little further away from them. After just 10 minutes, my sister calmed down. Brooklyn started saying that Bella should never touch her makeup. It was very important to her. It is makeup that helps her to be more cool on the catwalk, so you shouldn't even think about her makeup. Bella replied that she had never taken Brooklyn cosmetics before. She did it only once, because the lipstick looked very attractive. It was unrealistic to resist, so she took it. Brooklyn told her friend that Bella should always ask permission to look at cosmetics and never ask to use it. After all, cosmetics are expensive and run out quickly, especially if someone else uses it. Bella was tickled that her friend could be like that. I think after this incident, Bella will not want to be friends with Brooklyn. My sister acted like a little girl. She was her close friend, and Brooklyn allowed herself to be treated like that. Asher, doesn't your sister go to kindergarten? If Brooklyn threw a tantrum like that, it was because of a few grams of lipstick. I have a hard time imagining what would have happened if you had, God forbid, picked up her hand cream. Your sister would probably go crazy the moment she found out. How can Brooklyn think she has the right to yell at her friends? Her friend Bella didn't steal that lipstick. She didn't break the lipstick bottle. Bella only put a little on her lips. Your sister is just an insufferable, stupid girl. Claire, this behavior cannot be justified. As a girl, I understand the importance of cosmetics. But to behave like this with a friend, it's not right of Brooklyn. Of course, Bella herself is to blame for taking it without permission. But who could have expected such a crazy reaction? Most sane people said that everything was fine. If Brooklyn wants no one to take her cosmetics, let her keep her makeup under lock and key. Nathan, I don't think your sister is Brooklyn. She's so poor because her friend barely wears lipstick. Brooklyn must have some pride issues. She thinks her stuff is sacred. No one should even look at them without her presence. And if someone takes cosmetics that belong to Brooklyn, it will be immediately destroyed at the same moment. Who buys all her expensive cosmetics anyway? I'm not sure that Brooklyn bought expensive lipstick. So what right does she have to spoil someone's mood? But poor Bella clearly regrets having such a sensitive friend. When I was a kid, I had a brother. He was always watching me to make sure I didn't take his things. One day, I had nothing to do at home. I saw that my brother's ball was in the yard. I played with the ball for about an hour. Then it was lunchtime, and I went to the kitchen. That's when my brother came in with my dad. He noticed that the ball was a meter further away. My brother had been playing with the ball before he left. So he picked on me and started asking me about the damn ball. Our conversation lasted about 30 minutes. My brother was furious. He was angry and yelling that I was playing with the ball without him. After all, that ball was a gift for his birthday. That's why my brother thought I had no right to play with the ball without his attention. My parents almost punished me because of that ball. My brother didn't want to talk to me. I understand that taking other people's things is not good, but to reduce such situations to such absurdity, it's just the worst possible decision. Your sister should apologize to Bella. Otherwise, your sister can't even think about normal friendship anymore. Why are your parents ignoring her behavior? They are raising a monster, a story that really surprised me. Our family has lived in Florida for about 30 years. I have my own family with 2 children. My husband Thomas is 38 years old. We often go to visit Thomas' relatives because they chew nearby. My husband's mother likes to be with her grandchildren. My husband's family is also big. He has 2 sisters and 1 brother. My husband Thomas also has an aunt and 1 cousin. The most interesting person in Thomas's family is his aunt. Skylar worked a regular job for a long time, so when she saved up a lot of money, Skylar started spending it on herself and a little bit on her family. Skylar is a married woman of 42 years. She spends all her time somewhere other than at home. Her husband Leo is not very happy with the way his wife behaves. Leo has started thinking about divorce but hasn't decided yet because they have a child. Leo doesn't want their son Isaiah to go through his parents' divorce. After all, he is only 8 years old. I can't say that my aunt Skylar is a good mom. However, I don't like her behavior. Leo works very hard at his job. That's why it's hard for him to pay attention to his son. Leo can only be with Isaiah on his weekends. Skylar is always busy with herself and achieving personal heights. That's why their son Isaiah is often under the care of his cousin or his mother Thomas. Thomas's parents have little to do anyway. Thomas's father has a small farm. That's why Isaiah doesn't get bored when he stays with his grandparents, but Thomas's parents don't like it. That Skylar has so much time, but does not think about his son at all. Skylar is so irresponsible that she did not come to the art exhibition in which her son Isaiah participated. Even my husband and I went there. That's why I don't treat my husband's mom's sister well. For Skylar, family means nothing in life. I once spoke to Skylar about this topic. She doesn't try to be a mom to Isaiah at all. Isaiah's son exists for Skylar only formally. She cares more about her flowers, which have been on her windowsill for 2 years. Skylar says that these years have taken up a lot of her life. That's why it's important for her to enjoy life. Skylar said that there is no time in her schedule right now. She would rather stay at home and be with her son. Life is much more than staying at home. Skylar's response: "It took me a week to get over it." 2 months ago, Skylar's husband had an important holiday for him. Leo got a promotion at work, and now he was the general manager of the company. Leo invited all his family to his house. We ate delicious food and talked for a long time about our new responsibilities. The whole family noticed one thing. Leo was at the party with only his son Isaiah. My husband's dad asked, "Where is that woman wandering around again?" Isaiah said that his mom had gone on vacation, and she hasn't been home for 3 days. Skylar just sent a greeting card. Thomas' dad was angry that Skylar did that. Then I found out that Skylar had a conversation with her sister, who is Thomas's mom. Skylar said that there were good discounts at the resort right now, so she couldn't help but go there. And then she had a big cycling marathon waiting for her. The race was 30 miles long, so she had to rest before the start. I understand that parents can be busy sometimes, but to just not care about your son, this is a very stupid decision from a mature woman. Skylar kept saying how important her work was. Over the objections of my husband's mother, Skylar replied that she had a better opportunity to do something important with her life now. Then there was Thomas's father's birthday. Of course, according to tradition, Skylar did not come. After all, she was away at a shooting competition, where she took second place. For a long time afterwards, Thomas was reassured by Leo. After all, he was very upset that his wife had set him up like that, and he didn't want to be part of the family at all. These were the critical moments when Leo wanted to divorce Skylar. Skylar kept trying to reassure the whole family that she was taking care of the family. After all, she allocates her own money to Isaiah's care. Skylar said, "We should all be proud to have such a great relative, and her son and husband should be proud that she is capable of so many things at the age of 42. Leo is already doing a great job with her son, so she doesn't have to worry about anything." Her words made my husband furious. Thomas had some strong words for Skylar. "Your family doesn't need just a woman who can do a lot of cool things. Your son needs to have his mom around, not 400 miles away every day, who will send greeting cards with congratulations, and at the same time to see her son once every 2 months. Skylar, you have become a stranger to Leo and Isaiah. All you do is live for yourself." Skylar was offended by these truthful words, so she told my husband that Thomas is a bastard and has no right to say such things. Thomas just hung up the phone. I was glad that someone had finally said it to her. After all, no one wanted to hurt Skylar's feelings. I supported my husband Thomas. I told my husband's cousin about it. He also agreed with every word. After all, everyone was constantly silent and did not want to say anything. Then my husband's mom and dad found out about it. They fully supported their son because his rightness was obvious. Skylar had allowed herself too much. Because of this, her husband Leo has depression, and her son Leo has a bad feeling, as if he never had a mom. My grandmother thinks I shouldn't have been so harsh, because it really hurt Skylar's feelings, and now he doesn't even want to see his family. It doesn't matter what Skylar thinks. She needs to realize other things. She has a family to take care of. Was my husband wrong in what he said? "Lucy, this Skylar woman is not a mom. She does not behave like a normal mom. I think Isaiah will soon forget the look of Skylar. Your husband was right in every word. What does she think? Skylar started a family just to have it. Skylar doesn't think about anything. Her husband Leo needs to find a new wife, someone who will take care of him and his son. Skylar's son doesn't care what his mother has achieved. The main thing is that she is there for him." My next story. There are 3 children in my family. I am the middle one. I have an older brother and a slightly younger sister. My brother is currently away on a business trip for 2 years. During this time, my brother Julian managed to find a girlfriend. So when it was Christmas time, Julian said that he and his girlfriend would come to my parents' house, so I should be there too. After all, he wants me to meet Aubrey. He says I should like her. My sister Ellie can be a little bit cheeky sometimes. She is from the generation that likes to film everything and post it on social media. Ellie has a blog on YouTube. That's why she always has her camera on. This causes a lot of trouble for my parents. Ellie is always looking for some cool moment. So when there are no cool moments, she starts creating them herself. Ellie is 17 years old now, but that doesn't stop her from doing all kinds of stupid things. Ellie loves to play pranks on our mom because she has the funniest reaction. My sister at home makes her studio everywhere. Typical pranks from my sister. She tried to drink a glass of milk through her nose. Ellie tried to breathe through her ears. To do this, she would dive into the pool and stick out only one ear. It's funny to watch her, but usually you will be the subject of her filming. Our whole family is used to her actions. Ellie started asking for information about his girlfriend. She wanted to prepare the room for the shoot. Julian told her that his girlfriend was Aubrey. She is slightly taller than average. She has been swimming for many years, so Aubrey looks athletic. She has a nice appearance. Aubrey loves sweet food and balloons. My parents and I were happy that Julian had found a decent girl, and my sister was happy that she knew enough information. My sister made up a plan for when my brother and his girlfriend would come. Ellie would give her 3 balloons. One of them would be filled with a small amount of water. My mom told Ellie not to lose her head, and the water was no more than 30 milliliters. We didn't want to spoil the whole celebration. I had to warn my brother about Ellie's trap. My brother said he was expecting something from his sister. After all, he watches her videos all the time, how she behaves at home, and makes fun of everyone. When Aubrey and Julian came to visit us, we were a little surprised. After all, my brother's girlfriend was really attractive. Compared to my brother, she was flawless. My parents liked her immediately. We started getting to know each other and talking in the living room. My dad couldn't take his eyes off Aubrey. My mom asked a lot of questions, sometimes not very important ones, but it didn't spoil the atmosphere. Everything was going great. Aubrey had a great hairstyle and hair condition. I noticed it right away. See that she takes great care of her appearance. Aubrey now works as a sports instructor, and she told me some interesting stories. My sister really liked Aubrey. After all, she paid a lot of attention to Ellie. My brother's girlfriend listened to Ellie's stories about her hobbies and life with great interest. Ellie hadn't talked to someone so sweetly in a long time. It's nearing the end of our time together. Ellie brought out one balloon for each of us, saying that there is helium inside. If you untie the balloon, you can inhale it, and everyone will have a lot of fun. I realized that Ellie had decided to implement her wet plan. Surprisingly, Aubrey was the first to do what my sister said, and there was no water, which surprised me. I looked at Aubrey and asked her, was that all the balloons Aubrey was going to get? My brother's girlfriend asked me what it meant. I told her that my sister, Ellie, had put water in the balloon to film how it would spill out on you. My sister Ellie became very embarrassed, and she was very ashamed. My brother Julian poked me a little bit to make me stop talking about Ellie's intentions. My sister denied everything. Ellie told me to try to breathe in. I told my sister I didn't want any. I'm sure there are other balls in her room. So I quickly run to get them. My brother started laughing, and my parents just couldn't understand the situation. Aubrey didn't know how to react to the situation. When our day together was over, my sister Ellie started to confront me because I had ruined her plan, and she had changed her mind about spoiling such a great evening, and I ruined everything with my stupid chatter. Now Aubrey thinks badly of Ellie because of me. My dad told me to apologize to my sister. After all, I ruined her reputation in front of the new family member. I don't want to apologize for that at all. It was Ellie's idea to do something bad, and it was my fault. That's not a fair attitude. I just wanted to see Ellie's case through, so I started making jokes about the other ball. Maybe I should have kept quiet. Matteo, you are not to blame for this situation, even though you started to say too much, but none of this happened. If your sister Ellie hadn't done stupid things on camera, Ellie got what she sowed in other people. She liked it when she became the center of attention at someone else's expense. Now it's the other way around, and she's offended by it. It turns out that Ellie does not want to be in the shoes of someone who is humiliated in any way. I would feel sorry for your brother's girlfriend. If Ellie had gone through with her plan, I don't think Aubrey would have known exactly how to react. When instead of a helium balloon, she would have had water running down her body. You hurt your sister's feelings when she tried to hurt someone else's feelings, so stop playing the victim. It's bad enough that you've become the main villain in this case. Stella, I understand that your sister is a teenager, but that doesn't mean she's bullying a person you've only known for a few hours. If Ellie had done what she wanted, it would have been horrible. Your brother's girlfriend, she didn't remember this Christmas very well. I'm so glad that Ellie changed her mind about her stupid act. Anthony is not a friend for Ellie at all. Aubrey is an adult, and it's not like she could take a joke like that. It's clear that the spectacle is important to Ellie, but playing such games with someone you don't know well is a bad idea. Your sister is trying to make you feel guilty, but where is your fault here? Did you really think of filming a stupid joke on camera and then put it on your YouTube channel for others to see? I think Aubrey might have been offended that they wanted to make a joke on her, especially at her first dinner with her parents. Did your brother say anything about his girlfriend Aubrey? Maybe Ellie should apologize to her. Jackson, it feels like you're the only one who cares about Aubrey's feelings. Why did your brother Julian react so calmly? You're the only one who tried to protect Aubrey's reputation. What Ellie thinks is not so important. I'm sure she thinks you're guilty, and Ellie herself is innocent. I think in an instant, Aubrey began to think that it was you who wanted to do something bad, not someone else. But in an instant, this situation changes, and who is really to blame? Immediately starts changing the subject and telling you to keep quiet. Ellie is really still very young. She will grow up soon and stop doing such stupid things. I hope Ellie will be a good wife in the future, and she won't drive her husband crazy. Natalie, your sister Ellie was looking for some easy attention. It's good that you warned your brother about your little sister's prank. It was the best decision they could have made. After all, it wasn't a cute prank. Ellie wanted to wet Aubrey in front of her parents. This is not the norm for good human relationships. Don't pay attention to your sister. She will resent you for a while. But in that moment, she learned an important lesson for herself. Thank you all for your wonderful comments. My brother and his girlfriend stayed for 1 week, so I had a lot of time to talk about everything. Aubrey is really a great girl. She's a great joker and knows how to make necklaces. She made 2 pairs for me. Also, Aubrey doesn't hold a grudge against Ellie, so we all have a good relationship now. Ellie has never even tried to do anything to me. On the contrary, she and Aubrey made some trendy dances. Aubrey is a great match for my brother. It was a pleasure to watch the pairing of Aubrey and Julian. They are so nice and kind to everyone. Now I have a new great friend, and my sister has more sense now. My parents are also happy to have a girl like Aubrey. By the way, in 4 months, my brother is going to marry Aubrey, so we are all very happy. Now I want to tell a different story. I had been in a relationship with my wife for about 5 years. My wife was beautiful and friendly. At some point, I realized that I didn't mean anything to her anymore, and my wife Leah wanted to stop being my legal wife. The divorce process was very quick. Leah had a boyfriend already during our divorce. I was heartbroken and didn't know what to do next. In her new marriage, Leah had a little daughter, Zoe. She was 1 year old at the time. 7 months after Leah found a new boyfriend, a certain terrible incident happened. Her boyfriend got into an accident. Doctors tried to save him on the spot. The man lasted only an hour. A lot of time has passed since that day. Leah was broken and had no desire to talk to anyone. She took Zoe to her place because no one was closer than her. Leah tried to raise the young child on her own, but she was not doing well. Leah's mother helped her a lot. I could not leave this situation either. Even though I became an ex-husband, I had humanity inside me. So while Leah was taking courses with a psychologist and going to work, I had to be with little Zoe. My ex-wife's mother and I were looking after the child together. I became a stepfather to this child for the next years. I looked after her like my own child almost every day. I could only handle that kind of help for 3 years because I had my own personal important things to do, and I had more responsibilities at my new job. I used to sit with Zoe about 4 days a week because I was working on my laptop and could afford to do so. Now I have my own family and the good job I dreamed of, but still, I go to Leah's house to babysit Zoe because Leah's mother is already in old age, so she cannot be with her granddaughter often. My girlfriend had a little daughter of 6 years old. Violet is one of those children who ask a lot of questions. She also has a lot of energy. Now, my new wife Hazel gave birth to my son, who is 2 years old this month. My parents are very happy that I was able to build a new strong family. That week my ex asked me to babysit Zoe. I did not refuse her because I was free. I took my children with me because my wife Hazel was away on business. All the children do not get along very well with each other. They often quarrel over trifles. The noise from their conflicts reverberates throughout the house. I don't like this. I told my children that even though we are almost family, but that doesn't give us the right to yell at each other, to insult each other. My wife's daughter started playing with Zoe. At some point, a small conflict started between them. I had to explain to the children that they were just friends, and my daughter Violet said something rude to Zoe, that we are not a family, so she can behave as she wants. The situation became very tense. I asked my daughter to go to the other room. When I calmed Zoe down, I wiped her tears. I went and had a nice conversation with Violet. After all, she had said something very rude. She had hurt little Zoe's feelings. When we were about to go home, Violet apologized to Zoe for what she had said. The girls seemed to be on good terms again. I try to raise my children to be polite. That same evening, I got a bunch of messages from Leah. She started asking me why her daughter Zoe was sitting upset. I had to tell her about the childhood conflict. Leah started hysterical and recording voice messages. She said, "How could I let Zoe be hurt? I have to take care of her too, because I promised 2 years ago to protect her." Leah couldn't stop accusing me. Leah says, doesn't give me permission to babysit Zoe anymore if I don't come alone. After all, my children are constantly doing bad things for her. Yes, maybe my children were a little harsh, But I don't think it's a good idea to keep them apart. It is important for them to grow up and learn to resolve certain conflicts. I can't sit with Zoe. Not if I don't bring my children with me. I often have no one to leave them with. Andrew, you were right to tell your daughter not to be so rude. It doesn't matter how Violet feels about Zoe. That's not the way to behave. As a parent, you should tell your children that they should only be friends because they're not close enough to hurt each other. If I were you, I wouldn't agree to be with Zoe anymore because you have your own family to take care of. Do your own thing and don't get your kids involved in conflicts. You don't owe your ex-wife anything. Theodore, I understand that you helped with the child at first, but why did you have to keep getting involved? You're always trying to be close to Violet, so it's not surprising that she thinks you're her dad. And it's probably weird for Violet that your kids are. For her, they're really friends or strangers. You're probably the cause of all these fights. Your children can't divide you. Aurora, why does your ex-wife rely on you so much? Doesn't Leah know that you are busy and have children of your own? Leah should stop asking you for help. You're only making things worse by taking care of Zoe. And your ex-wife thinks it's your fault. Or maybe it's your daughter's fault that she's provoking the conflict. Either way, you should only care about your family. Leah can ask friends or hire a babysitter. There is no problem with that now. Caleb, it sounds like your ex-wife to me is talking about you and your new family with Zoe. The little girl has been deceived by her mom about you. Zoe thinks you're spending time with her because you are her dad, but she has no idea you're doing it. Because of your ex's request for help, Zoe is guided by her emotions and feelings. She probably doesn't understand the relationship you have with him. It's not surprising that she doesn't. She's only 4 years old. You should stay away from this family. Savannah, the situation is very confusing for me. I can't say that Leah alone is to blame, but I can't say anything bad about the narrator either. I understand Leah perfectly because she has to work, and someone has to be with the child. That's why Leah is forced to ask her ex-husband, but the ex-husband does not refuse to help. He likes to help and be there for her. However, he has his own things to do, which are no less important than Leah's. However, Leah should stop asking her ex for help. Children have stopped making the distinction. Who is their friend and who is their real family? Ryan, I don't understand you. Leah chose not to be your wife. She found a new man very quickly. That's a good reason to think that you weren't important to her. Now Leah can easily manipulate you. You're fooled by her being so poor, and you go along with it every time. You really do care about the little kid. It's commendable that you're an adequate man, but you have to start reducing the amount of attention you pay to Zoe. You have 2 small children. How many times has Leah agreed to stay with them? You're the only one who helps. Is that fair? You've been with Zoe a bunch of times, taking care of her. And what do you get back from your ex-wife? Leah started accusing you of being a bad parent. In fact, she thinks you're an asshole. Although you did everything right with your children, Leah doesn't deserve your kindness. Your wife Hazel needs your attention. If you don't pay proper attention to your family, soon you will be looking for a new family. Next story. I inherited a nice house from my parents. My brother inherited my father's car. Thanks to the fact that I earned quite a bit during the year, my brother and I were able to go on vacation. The vacation period was 3 weeks. It was enough time to feel life again. We were accommodated in a middle-class hotel. At that time, there were a lot of visitors, so my brother and I were put in a room with a guy. He was tall and skinny. Josia was his name. He was really weird, and I felt uncomfortable being around him. The first 2 days, it was hard to establish contact with Josia. On the 3rd day, we were able to talk a little bit. He told me that he was in a depressed state. That's why he can behave quite aggressively. I started asking him what was wrong with him. Josia said that not so long ago, he was the reason. His friend died, so now he is in a bad state. I never found out what exactly happened, but that was enough for me. Josia rarely left his room. Mostly he would leave in the morning and stay in until the evening. My brother and I did not want to disturb Josia. After all, the boy himself did not have a strong desire to talk to us. Often, Josia would just walk by without saying anything. We could even be together in the living room, and Josia would just sit there silently and look at the walls. This behavior scared me a lot. Josia is like a maniac who is just waiting for the right moment to make his plan. Although my brother says that it was fate that brought us together, we need to do something for Joza. One evening, my brother and I were discussing the next day. We asked Joza if he wanted to come with us. Joza sat for about a minute and did not respond. Then he asked me again what I had said. It was the first time I had ever had the experience of talking to someone like that. In fact, Joza turned out to be not such a bad guy. During the first week, we managed to have a few good conversations. I even started to think he was adequate. On the 10th day, I went to the beach. I got up a little earlier than usual. Unexpectedly, I found Joza sitting in the kitchen. Joza was pouring food into a plate and just looking at it. I was a little surprised by this, but it was like I was getting used to his condition. I quietly went to the kitchen to make coffee. At that time, Joza went to the restroom. I sat down at the table, but the plate was in the way. I had to move it a little to the right. When Joza returned to the table, I sat and drank my coffee. Joza started asking me questions in a quiet voice. "What did you just do?" I didn't hear anything the first time, so I asked Joza to repeat it. Joza said, "Did you touch my plate?" I explained to him that it was in the way a little bit, so I moved it a little bit on the table. Joza got very angry and started talking loudly. "You had no right to touch that plate. If you had broken it, you would have gotten into a lot of trouble. Your stupid head can't think straight. This plate is worth more than your whole life. Next time, watch where you put your disgusting hands." I just sat there and didn't know what to say to him. 1 minute after the barrage of insults, I heard from Joza. "I just wanted to get a coffee, so you should calm down." Joza walked off to his room in a huff. My brother woke up from Joza's screaming. He came to the kitchen to find out why we were fighting. I easily survived Joza's disgusting words, and then, when I finished my coffee, I went to the beach. Joza was angry with me all day. All the time, he was looking at me with a slanting look. Joza told the others about my brazen behavior, although I don't think the behavior was brazen. My brother told me that I shouldn't touch the things of a weirdo like Joza, but I had no idea that Joza could behave like that. Joza did not speak to me for the rest of the vacation. For a while, I tried to resolve this situation. I even bought a new plate for Joza. He never used it once. And when we were packing up our things, Joza left this plate right in the packaging in the kitchen. As it turned out later, that plate belonged to his late friend. That's why Joza said that, but I found out about it too late. Now I feel very bad about what I did. If I knew then, I would never have done it. Didn't touch that damn plate. I hope Joza will forgive me someday. Paisley, even if the plate was his dead cat or dog. That doesn't give Joza any right to say that to you. I understand that the plate is important to him, but still, that's no reason to call living people bad names for the sake of the dead. He can tell his mom that. If I were you, I'd tell a hotel management, and that asshole Joza was quickly thrown out of there with his plate. If Joza can be so brazen, why can't you? Charles, why is this guy even there? If he has depression and a problem, let him go to a psychologist and not disturb others. Joza should be at home somewhere, not at some resort and ruining someone's vacation. You should have talked to this asshole, but you just decided not to deal with Joza. You really should have told him not to let Joza get into trouble. He's not the only one who has bad days. Everly, you seem to be a very sane and reserved man. If you didn't react to Joza's bad words about you, did your brother have any difficulties with Joza? Maybe this guy just didn't like you. I wouldn't have cared if he had any problems. I would have made Joza apologize to me. If I have problems, I don't lash out at other people. This behavior is not appropriate for normal people.